The meridian set down at the center of the pattern. The landing struts touched ice that was as flat and smooth as poured glass, unnatural, deliberately prepared. They suited up in silence. Outside, the cold was minus 160 degrees Celsius. The gravity was a fraction of Earth's, making every step feel like walking on the moon of a dream. Jupiter filled half the sky, enormous, close, overwhelming. In its light, the ice glowed softly blue-white, and the etched patterns cast long shadows that gave them depth and dimension. The target coordinate was 40 meters from the landing struts. A fissure in the ice, 3 meters wide and of indeterminate depth, ran in a perfectly straight line for as far as Elena could see in either direction. The edges are not broken or jagged. They were clean cut with a precision that no geological process could explain. "Someone cut this," Yuki said, kneeling at the edge. Her voice was tight with the effort of professional calm. "The thermal signature of the cut is, it's fresh, within the last week. They opened it for us," Elena said. From within the fissure, light rose. Pale blue, steady, not bioluminescent, not thermal, not any frequency that corresponded to natural ice. It simply shone gently from somewhere far below, from an ocean that no human I had ever seen. Elena anchored her line, looked at Aiden and Yuki. They both nodded. She dropped the camera probe first, a sphere the size of grapefruit, bristling with sensors trailing a fiber optic line. They watched on their helmet displays as it descended. 10 meters, 50, 200, 500, minus 7. At 900 meters, it broke through the ice ceiling into open water. At 912 meters, it found something. Elena's breath stopped. What the probe showed them would be in every history book, every museum, every child's dream for 1,000 years. The structure began at 400 meters below the ice and extended downward into the ocean for at least 30 kilometers, as far as the probe's sensors could reach. It was constructed from a material that registered as neither metal, stone, crystal, nor polymer, something that their instruments measured but their training provided no vocabulary for. It absorbed some wavelengths of light and emitted others, hence the blue glow, as if the structure itself were breathing. Its geometry was precise in a way that went beyond architecture into something closer to music, repeating ratios, self-similar patterns at every scale, a recursive logic that Aiden stared at and whispered. It's like a sentence. The entire structure is one continuous sentence. What does it say? Yuki asked. I don't know yet, but it's been saying it for a long time. Elena checked the thermal data. She ran the calculation twice, then a third time. The thermal record in the surrounding ice goes back 10,000 years, she said. This structure has been generating stable heat for at least 10 millennia. 8. From Helios, Marcus's voice crackled in her earpiece, quiet, stripped of sarcasm. 4. The first time she could remember, 10,000 years ago, we were in the Bronze Age. We were drawing animals on cave walls. And they were here, Elena said. Waiting. Waiting for what? As if in answer, the structure changed. Not physically, it did not move or shift. But the light it emitted deepened, intensified, pulsed in a slow rhythm that Elena recognized with a jolt of shock that nearly took her off her feet. It was the prime number sequence from the signal. Playback, in light. They know we found it, Aiden breathed. They know, Elena agreed. And now they're ready to talk. The voice came 12 minutes later. Not through the probe's sensors. Not through any of their instruments. It came through the radio channel, the standard short-range frequency used between astronauts on EVA. The frequency that no one outside their suits should have been able to access. It spoke in English. De Elena Vasquez. We've been waiting for you. Elena felt the cold of Europa reach through her suit and settle somewhere in her chest. She answered because a scientist answers, because that is what you do when the universe finally speaks back, though her voice came out smaller than she intended. What do you know my name? We have always known your name. We have known all of your names since before you had language to say them. That's not possible. From your current perspective, very little of what you are about to learn is possible. That will change. Aiden had his recording equipment running. His hands were shaking. He looked at Elena with an expression that was half wonder and half terror, the face of a linguist, confronting a language that had been waiting 10,000 years to be heard. Who are you? Elena asked. A pause, not the pause of a being that needed time to think, but the pause of a being, choosing carefully among many true answers. We are the ones who came before the question. You may call us the architects if a name helps you. We find that younger minds find names useful. Younger minds. Elena heard Commander Park's sharp intake of breath over the Helios channel. How old are you? Old enough that your calendar systems would require new notation to express the number. What matters is not our age. What matters is why we built this place. Why? We have waited, and why we chose you. Chose us for what? The light from a structure below them pulsed once, slow, deep, like a heartbeat. To answer a question, the voice said that we cannot answer ourselves. A question you cannot answer. Elena's voice was steadier now. The scientist in her had taken over, the part that functioned best at the edge of the unknown. Who built this? Who built us? I assume you're about to tell me. Have a question they cannot answer. You assume correctly. We designed this solar system as an experiment in a particular kind of intelligence. Life that emerges from limitation. Minds that develop, not from abundance, but from scarcity and loss and the need to reach across. Distances, physical distances, emotional distances, the distance between one consciousness and another. You designed us, Aiden said. He was writing even as he spoke, his stylus moving. Across a pad, old habit, you designed human beings. We designed the conditions. Evolution did the rest. We are patient. For billion years is not long to us. What's the question? Yuki asked, and her voice was the voice of an engineer. Direct, cutting through everything to the functional core. Another pause. There is something beyond us, the architect said. Something older. Something that was here before we were, and that will remain after we are gone. We have studied it for longer than your planet has existed. We cannot understand it. We believe, we hope, that intelligence shaped by mortality might perceive it differently than we do. That minds which know loss, which understand ending, which have built meaning in the face of meaninglessness, might see what we cannot. What happens if we can't find the answer? Marcus's voice came from Helios, quiet, and stripped of all the armor he usually carried. What happens to us? To you? The pattern ends, the architect said simply. Everything within it, all the nested structures of life and matter and time that we have spent our existence constructing. We do not say this to coerce you. We say it because you will want the truth. Elena looked up at Jupiter, a planet so large it could swallow 1,000 Earths, and yet a mote of dust against the scale of what the architects were describing. -11. Give us time, she said. You have always had time, the architects replied. That is one of the things we gave you. The meridian rose from Europa's surface at 1,600 station time. Below them, the geometric patterns remained inscribed in the ice. They would be visible from orbit for centuries, the architects had said. A reminder, or an invitation. Inside the cabin, no one spoke for a long time. It was Aiden who broke the silence, and what he said was not what Elena expected. I've been thinking about syntax, he said. Yuki looked at him. Syntax. The architect said the entire structure is one continuous sentence. But a sentence implies a subject a verb, an object, something acting on something. I want to know what the sentence says. Because I think dash, he hesitated. I think the answer there, looking for, might already be in the question they're asking. That's how language works sometimes. The shape of the question contains the shadow of its answer. Elena looked at him, a 29-year-old linguist, coffee stain on his sleeve hair, unwashed for 4 days, who had just spent 6 hours listening to beings older than the solar system and was already thinking about syntax. She felt something unlock in her chest. "Tell me more," she said. -12. By the time they docked with Helios, Aiden had filled 11 pages. Marcus was waiting at the airlock, not with skepticism, but with a pad of his own covered in equations. He had spent the descent time doing what Marcus always did when he was frightened. Calculating. "I think I know what the structure is made of," he said before they had even removed their helmets. Or rather, I think I know what it's made from. And if I'm right, it changes everything we know about the formation of the solar system. Commander Park looked at his crew, Elena and her steadiness, Aiden and his syntax, Yuki and her precision, Marcus and his equations, and said nothing for a moment. "Then, rest. For hours. Then we begin."